So my next one, this is called overreaction theater, and I do love when people bring this up, right? Because Sean Tucker has the game of his life last week and runs for 1,000,000 yards, does great, fantastic things, right? He ran for 106 yards on 19 carries, had one reception or two receptions rather for 34 yards in the game against the Bills, and everybody saw it. And that is why everybody has gone to the waiver wire and tried to grab Sean Tucker. Now, I will say he's still available in 70% of leagues in ESPN and just over 70 in Yahoo. So not that many people have overreacted, thank goodness. But I know there's a lot of people that grabbed him thinking they're going to be able to play him this week against the Rams. Maybe not so much against the Rams, and maybe not so much at all. Because if you look at the production, I mean, as good as the final line looked, right? That 43-yard carry was almost half of the total yardage for Tucker, right? One carry, and then the rest of the 18 allotted to about 50-some-odd yards, right? So it's not as if he was like completely killing it. And yeah, his yards per run were 5.6. Again, a lot of that came on one run, so you can't really base it off of that. So it's tough because everybody wants to go out there and claim him and see that they can start him. But if you look at what the Rams have done against really good running backs over the last couple of weeks, against the Seahawks, they held Kenneth Walker to 67 yards, Zach Charbonnet to 37 yards. Talking about 49ers, Christian McCaffrey, they held him to 30 yards. And Brian Robinson Jr. got him 41 yards against that. The Saints barely managed 25 yards at all between their running backs. And then the Jaguars, Travis Etienne, 44 yards. The only guy that really got to the Rams, this is the Ravens. Whew. No, that's right. Sorry. The Ravens played the Rams, and Derrick Henry got to them for well over 120 yards. So 120 yards in that game right there. So, I mean, the Rams rush defense has been stout against running backs. And if you expect Sean Tucker to do that against the Rams this week, then I think you're highly, highly mistaken. So I'm going to turn to Romeo Doubs in this situation. If you're trying to decide between Romeo Doubs and Sean Tucker, I'm going to take the Doubs side of this. Doubs, steady, consistent, right? He had 9.3 fantasy points in a PPR for you last week, 4 receptions, 53 yards rather. He did have a dud against the Eagles a couple of weeks ago, but 16.1 fantasy points against the Panthers, 9.4 against the Steelers, 13.2 against the Cardinals. Going up against the Vikings, who are suspect and can be taken advantage of. And I think we talked about this Packers offense wanting to run, but they're going to also have to pass. And I think Romeo Doubs can be that guy for you this week. He's going to be one of a couple of them, but Christian Watson being back doesn't necessarily eat into his total completely, because I still think that he gets looked at quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Doubs, he's getting the targets for this Packers team, and he's had at least 6 targets for the last 5 weeks. 3 out of the last 5 weeks, at least 8 targets for the Packers offense. And let's not forget, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you possibly get Bucky Irving back this week. It's a tough matchup, like you mentioned. You mentioned the numbers here against this Rams team, but I with Bucky Irving possibly returning this week for the Bucs, I'm not sure how many snaps, if it'll be on a snap count or a limit there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I think the coming out party and the door shut on Sean Tucker, right? Because you also have Rashad White in the fold there as well. So how many snaps is Sean Tucker going to get with a healthy Rashad White and possibly Bucky Irving coming back there? I think that, you mentioned last week was the 1 week that if you picked him up, you started him, fantastic. But I think now, you can probably release him just based off of Bucky Irving possibly returning here. For Romeo Doubs, I mean, like I mentioned, the numbers there, you maybe going to have to throw the football a little bit in this game there, but he's also been a downfield threat for this Packers team as well. Now, you can break one out and find the end zone there. I know he hasn't gotten a touchdown in the last 5 games for the Packers there, but I think those opportunities may be there in this game here for Romeo Doubs. So I'd be with you on Doubs before I would start Sean Tucker this week in week 12, Rod.
Yeah. Again, this is one of those things where I know there's some casual players out there that are like, oh, Sean Tucker, he did so good last week, I need to pick him up this week. I just calm down on that one, because I don't know that he's going to come out and do that good for you this week. So, all right,